Hey there, so I came from mechanical engineering to business intelligence over a period of a couple of years. And when I began this transition phase, I didn't even know that there would be a job that would fit me well. In this video, I'm talking about the research it takes for you to find a job that fits you. By the end of this video, you'll be better equipped to deal with jargon in the business school, words like MIM, finance, strategy consulting, marketing, sales, and so on, and the jargon at the workplace, business development, business intelligence, business analysis, business analytics, and all this business stuff in the job description. Once you have an approach to decipher these elvish words, you're speaking the same language as the rest of the world, and you set yourself on a journey of finding your ideal job. A job that fits you well. Start with getting to know yourself. This is an excellent investment of your time. What has made you happy in the real past? Which skills do you tend to learn rather effortlessly? Which activities make you feel that you're nailing it? And which of those projects that you spend into the night working on them and it doesn't feel like an arduous labor? These are excellent data points. And at first it may feel like you're not doing any of these awesome things. You're just the guy who watches TV and wastes time. But once you tune your mind to look out for these things, you start noticing things that you enjoy a lot. Something as basic as if a couple of friends want to craft something new together to make a box of pictures or an album of photographs or even a skit or a drama performance. If you find yourself energized by that, then you're more of a creative person. And if you channel your creativity in other places, you start seeing fruits with that. So writing down the answers to this question on paper is really an excellent investment of your time. And don't do it in 20 minutes. Take a piece of paper and think this through. Are you happy with your week? Which part of the week did you enjoy the most? And which part of the week did you dread the most? This part of the exercise looks deceptively easy, but if you do this well, you discover things about yourself that you did not notice before. And the stakes are high on this one because once you make this transition, you're going to be working for 8 hours a day. It is a prime of your daily attention span, and you don't want to get into a job that always sounded cool, like I want to be an astronaut, but you don't really enjoy the daily of that job. You know, what's the point? What I left with was something like this. I don't like that my current job back in the day involves such low human interaction and such high machine interaction. What I did like in my week was the free time I had in the evenings and on my travel to work and back, where I would spend time thinking. I've used this free time to think and work on my YouTube channel, to make friends online, to work on my French, and a couple of other things that I've liked to learn. And I did not want that part of my life to change. These two little lines are extremely powerful because they're personal to me. So if you have 2 lines that are personal to you, then the next part of this exercise gets extremely easy. From TV shows like Suits or The Poussin, you'll notice that these fictitious characters work all day and they don't really have much of a personal life outside of their work. These jobs exist and it gives a lot of fulfillment to a couple of people, and it was very clear for me that this is not for me. If this is something that you will thrive at, that you will enjoy, or if this is something that you won't, then you can look at all those jargon words, knowing what you want out of that jargon. Now let's do one more question on a piece of paper before we look at jobs available in the market. Again, if you've done the first question really well and it's accurately representing who you are, then this part will be much easier. If you were given 3 wishes to change anything, what would you change in your week? What would you add to your week? Or what parts of your week would you remove? In a sense, what does an average day look like for you in your ideal world? I legit didn't know the difference between marketing and sales when I set myself on this quest and I wrote these things on a piece of paper. Marketing is when you market stuff, and sales is when you... that's all I knew, man. I had no clue about this jargon. So if you're clueless too, that's fine. The good news is now you know yourself. That's key. Now once you know yourself and you look at a job or you read about a certain industry of work, you kind of know if this is something that will work well for you or not. Now the next part is going to take a good amount of time, but it's much easier than the first 2 questions. Is when you open your computer and look online for what kind of jobs people are currently hiring. There are companies who make an audit of the industries that hire the most in the country that you're trying to compete in India, in France, UK, and so on. I knew that I love computers and I wanted to stay somewhere close to technology. So I was looking heavily on that instead of a traditionally administrative role. The value of this exercise is now that you know yourself better, when you meet people in a certain area of work, you start asking more relevant questions and you have more of a curious outlook instead of just asking what's marketing. You forge yourself an opinion from what you've read online and you keep correcting it every time you get more pieces of information. This opinion/curiosity is what will set you apart when you go for your first interview a couple of years down the line. This opinion/curiosity comes from knowing yourself and knowing how people do things in this industry. Once you're done with these 2 questions, stick them on your bedroom or go to futureme.org and send yourself an email which will come back to you in 5 years. You'll be amazed of how much you'll achieve in the next 5 years if you do this exercise and put it down on a piece of paper. Now, if you haven't worked at all in your life, if you've never done an internship or did a full-term job in the past, then look into your personal life to see which part of your day or week recharges you. Do you like to talk to people and work with people, or do you like to work in silence? Do you seem to offer solutions to a friend's problem or enjoy doing a piece of craft with a couple of your friends, or would you rather just withdraw to read by yourself? These little pieces of information are excellent indicators of who you are and what you'll enjoy doing during your week. Through excessive Googling and asking people, in today's day, if you know what you want, no one can stop you. Most people start with the elimination method, where they look at a job like a finance job or a marketing role objectively, and they see if they can fit into that. If that approach works for you, that's great. But I was a little biased when I would hear a story from someone, let's say, works in marketing and shares his or her experience in marketing. Their experience is not representative of the whole field, and I may not want to fit specifically into that role. But it tags marketing or HR into this one person's experience when the field itself is rather vast. One risks profiling the whole field based on that one data point. That's not accurate. Even when you ask someone how you're doing, that's like a rhetorical question, right? So most of the times they just come up with a non-factual response. Like, that's what people also respond to a job. Yeah, life's okay, man. The work's good. Life's good. I love my job. This is not very helpful. And on the other side, the doom gloom day, one would only look at the negatives. That happens to everyone. It happens to me. When you hear people say stuff like the algorithm this, my manager that, and stuff like that, it doesn't help you either. Also, some of my well-wishers were obscenely mean with their pep talks when they tried to help me back in the day and wanted to show that I am a good for nothing. So I decided to stop these pep talks or toxic masculinity and set on my own approach on finding where I would fit in better professionally. Now let's look at the Q&As from the previous video. Hi Joshua, I have a few questions for you. I want you to know that your channel has been very insightful and I cannot thank you enough for this. Thank you. What are the job prospects after MI? Because all of us know that marketing is the kind of jobs, but other jobs less known in demand would be really helpful. Yeah, this is that research I was talking about where you look up an audit by companies like PwC and so on and see what kind of sectors are offering jobs in a country. You can also look at the website of business schools like edX, the one that I went to, and look at which industries have been hiring in the last couple of years. If I did choose a career in marketing, wouldn't it mean understanding the culture? Yes, it would mean that a lot. Preference automatically be given to natives or Europeans to non-EU citizen? I see where you're going with this. You're right. It does need a lot of cultural knowledge, but you can learn that. I've noticed a couple of foreigners, non-Europeans, who moved to France for business school, ended up working in marketing roles. So it's not impossible. And these people at that point when they got hired did not speak the most fluent French either. If you know exactly what it is that you want and where is the need in the market for that, I'm sure you can squeeze in. I'd like to hear what specializations you took up and a little about the curriculum too. Specialization, I did digital transformation and strategy consulting. Do we have health insurance as a student? You do. Tell your mom not to get worried. Country with a language barrier to like USA and the UK, is the MIM not as great value in the USA and Europe? I just chose it because it was clear to me that I wanted to go to France. That was the genesis of this whole move. And then I started looking for job opportunities in France. But also the competition in USA or UK is much, much higher. To get into the schools in the first place, it's far more expensive as well. So yeah, I think that's where the decision was made for me, because that's what I wanted. Does being a business intelligence manager you need any engineering related skills like in coding? As I read online, it does. I come from an arts background and was curious. I come from a mechanical engineering background. I did study a little bit of coding, but I'm not fluent with SQL or Python, for example. But if you go to any of these SQL query software like the SSAS tool or the BigQuery tool by Google, they have these templates. You can just right click and say show first 1,000 lines in this table and it writes the SQL code for you automatically. If you learn the basic syntax of these joins and what that can achieve for you, then you can at least query a database to do tests on your side. In my experience so far, this has been enough. I'm not fluent in SQL, but I do understand bits and pieces of it. So I don't think you can put blanket statements like I will never learn SQL or you don't need SQL for a business intelligence role. It comes as it comes, but when I started this role, I didn't know any SQL. Over time, I learned bits of it. I'm so curious about how you took care of the finances. I took care of the finances, all right. I meticulously wrote down in a little piece of book that HSBC gave me every expense I made on a daily basis. I spent around 110 euros a month on all expenses apart from rent. Even groceries was included in this. I was like super low energy mode. I didn't spend much money. The Europass resume, Karthik, of course. Could you please make a video on specific skills that are crucial to have an edge in securing a job? I think this video was helpful on that. Dude, is Schema Business School in the same league with edX? If I get an admit from Schema or MSc Finance, should I go for it? Yeah, I think you should. There are rankings online. I think HEC comes up on top. I think edX is number 3 or 4. I really don't know much about these rankings anymore. I think it used to be 3 when I joined it. But I have this kind of rebellion against prestigious business schools. That's not what will make you happy. That's just my opinion. When it comes to Schema itself, look at the course, and once you know yourself and what you're trying to achieve, see if there are people who are successful in getting that kind of jobs with the same background or similar background as you. If that's the case, it's the right place for you. Maybe if there's one outlier, maybe it's not so helpful, but 2 or 3 people, and the admissions team should be able to help you with this. They'll probably put you in touch with the career team, but they should be able to help you with this. Numbers, facts, and figures of what these people have done. You can even reach out to these people. Don't feel ashamed to do that. And I did it. I reached out to my school and asked them to get me in touch with students who got out of the school. And I reached out to them on LinkedIn, and 1 in 3 people would respond. And sometimes I would get a phone call, sometimes I would just get a response. So just looking at where I wanted to compete, you can do that with Schema. If it answers your needs, who cares about its prestige? Damn, that inspired my motivated soul. Thanks, Amendra. And my auntie says congratulations. That's it for this video, guys. I'm making a couple of more videos in this series, so leave down a question if you want me to address it in the next videos Q&A. Whether you're curious about moving to France or set up your mind on doing the MIM, hit that subscribe button because I'm going to be making a couple of more videos in this series. If you want your questions to be featured in the next video, then leave a comment on this one. Hit the like, it helps the channel. I'll see you in the next one. Keep learning.